Hello everyone and welcome to me playing Equestrian The Game Part 5. Also, by the way, I am filming this video on a voiceover because I couldn't figure out the sound for whilst I was playing. Anyways, today you guys are going to be meeting my horses, so let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in my stables and I think I'm going to show you my horses from right to left. And first up is Onyx, my black Swedish warm blood. So I bought Onyx because he has a really high potential, and I think he was the very first horse that I got that had over a potential of 700. So yeah, and I also loved his traits. When I bought Onyx, I also intended to breed with him, so I have bred with him once, I think. But I think I might have sold his foal, I can't remember. Surprisingly, I haven't actually done any show jumping with him yet. I just bought him because why not? So my next horse is my mare, Leia, and yes, she is named after Princess Leia from Star Wars. Leia was, I think, the very first Arabian that I bought, and I just loved her stats, of course. She is devoted, happy-go-lucky, clever, uphill canter, and balanced. I've used Leia for both breeding and show jumping, and she is actually the Arabian that took me to the Grand Prix for the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, she's 100% one of my favorites in my horse stables. Next up, we have my one and only Frisian Pandora. When I first bought her, I realized I had to do lots of show jump training with her because, especially in Equestrian The Games, for some reason Frisians just aren't really built for jumping and their jump potential doesn't go very high. I don't really know if that's the case in real life too, but yeah. Also, fourth up is the stallion Dante. Dante is similar to Onyx. He's just 2 potential points lower than Onyx, I guess. And I also really wanted to use him for breeding. I loved his coat color. I never really had seen a grey as pretty as him in the game before, so I just loved him, so I immediately bought him. I did breed with Dante once. I think it was between one of my 2 Arabian mares, Shiloh or Leia, which I will show you Shiloh later. Next is Fortune, tiny teeny little Fortune. He's only 13.3 hands, so he's the smallest pony that I have in my stable. But as you can see, he has the highest potential by far, 720. I think Fortune was born 2 or 3 days ago, so I haven't done much training with him yet, but he's only 4 years old as well, so he has a long way to come. After Fortune is Ingo, a very interesting name, I know. That kind of rhymed, but Ingo is my one and only Fjord. He has a potential 698. I'm not really thinking of using him for breeding, more just mainly so that I can compete with him for the Norwegian Fjord Breeders' Cup. And here's the most recent addition to the fam, Ella. Ella is a Swedish warm blood and Arabian cross, and she has the highest potential out of all of my mares. She was born right before I started filming this video actually, so yeah. I think that once she's a little bit more trained, I'm going to use her for breeding because I already have an Arab that I'm using for the Grand Prix. And her parents are Leia and Robin, both very high-statted horses. I also just remembered that I forgot to show Fortune's parents, so I'm just showing you now. So his parents are Shiloh and Dante. Also, Shiloh was the mare that had the highest potential, but now Ella's taken that title over. And now on the left hand side of the stables, here is Beauty. She is a black thoroughbred mare and I'm currently using her for breeding, so that's why she's not actually in her stable. But you can see a little like side profile on the right. She's still very young, so once again I have to do a lot of training with her, but I think she'll be really great in the show jumping ring. Also, she's 16 hands. She's absolutely huge. Beauty is a very fitting name for her. I just love it. And next to her is Magnum. Magnum is named after a very famous ice cream. He has a really high potential, although I haven't used him for breeding yet because I just bought him as well. I think that his name is very suiting for him because he is like a chocolatey brown base sort of color and he just looks the color of a Magnum ice cream. I also like that he's only 15 hands, as he was the size of my lease horse in real life. And here is Reese, my Arabian, also named after a chocolatey brand. Him and Magnum share the same potential, so I use them for breeding a lot, especially Reese. I've had Reese for about a week now, so he is sort of new to the fam, but you know, most of my horses I just bought a couple days ago. Here is yet another foal, Snow Chaser, and the reason for his name? Well, ask my dad that because he's the one that gives all my horses weird names. No offense, Dad, but it's true. Anyways, Snow Chaser was born a couple of days ago and I still have a long way to go with him, but I really want to use him for jumping and breeding. And I did unfortunately sell his father, Odin, because I just didn't really like him anymore. And next is Leia's twin sister, Shiloh. And yes, Shiloh and Leia aren't actually sisters, but I just call them that because they're really similar. At this point, I think that Leia and Shiloh have both had about 2 to 3 foals each, so I definitely breed with them the most. Both Shiloh and Leia have been in my stables for about a month now. And next is one of my main horses, Conker, also named by my dad, if you couldn't tell already. I haven't used Conker for breeding before, but I have taken him to the Grand Prix in the Breeders' Cup. When I first bought him, I found his coat color very interesting and I liked his stats, so I just bought him. I've had Conker for about 3 weeks now, and yes, that is a long time for me. And now is the star of the stables, my main horse, Phoenix. If I have to be honest, Phoenix is by far the best horse that I've ever bought, and I definitely don't have any regrets of buying him. Phoenix has taken me to the proper Grand Prix, and I know this is just a horse game, but I really have a strong connection with this horse. I don't really want to breed with Phoenix, as I just want to keep him as my competition horse. I believe I've had Phoenix for a solid 2 months now, and that's still going. Next to Phoenix is Kira. Kira has taken me to the Breeders' Cup Swedish Warm Blood Grand Prix, and she's just a lovely ride as well. Kira is only 9 years old, so I had to do quite a bit of training with her. Before her, OVR was about 400, so now it's 515 after the weeks and weeks of training. I've had Kira for the same amount of time as I've had Phoenix. Now I'm quickly going to go over to the breeding facility and show you Shiloh and Beauty. So here Shiloh is. She's currently in gestation and she is going to have a foal in a day in 4 hours. I'm quite excited to see what the foal will look like. So here's Beauty and Conker. They're both quite dark colors, so I'm excited to see what the foal's coat color turns out to be. So that was the end of the tour of my horses, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, comment down below whether you prefer text or voiceovers in my videos. I'd really like to know. Thanks for watching. Bye.